Hey, Jake.
Hmm?
Why do fighters have so many shoes?
I don't know. Why?
Because of all the feats they get.
I
Hey, everybody.
like
I'm
that.
Josh from JNJtabletop, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 feats for fighters in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So stay tuned.
I see what you did there. Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to another J&J Tabletop video alongside the real Josh T. Over here to my right is me, Jake. We said that backwards than the way I normally do. We're doing 5 feats that we think are just incredible for the fighter, and we're going to ignore some of the obvious ones like Polearm Master, Sentinel, Great Weapon Master, Sharpshooter, because those are kind of too obvious. If we were to do that, you'd just be like, why bother clicking on the video? So we're being a little creative. We're thinking about the primary roles that a fighter tends to fill, and that is really a frontline kind of tanky defender, but also really, they are just the most consistent damage dealers in the game. That's right, I said it. Not the barbarian. Barbarians are cool and all. The paladin is great for burst damage, but at the end of the day, pound for pound, the fighter is the reliable one that just gets the job done.
Fighters are definitely better. I mean, like, the barbarians suck. I wouldn't even call them cool.
Oh,
What's a
there it is.
barbarian rage if not just second wind?
There you have it, folks. Let us know what you think about that in the comment section. Josh, you have a lot of love for the fighter class. You played fighter in our Dragon of Icespire Peak playthrough. I played Vale in our current Ancient Relics and Hokey Religions playthrough. So this is a class that's near and dear to both of us. But what are your thoughts here, and what are you picking for your feats?
On the topic of barbarians sucking, let's talk about tough, right? You get a lot of extra hit points, and who needs a barbarian in the party if you get all these extra feats or ASIs as a fighter? So if you have one, you're like, what should I do with it? Tough is always a good choice. It's not the most exciting choice, but do you want a crap ton of extra hit points? It's tough.
That adds up. At level 10, you have 20 extra hit points. That's kind of incredible.
That's a lot. That's like I guess at level 20, attacks against you might be a little bit more than that, but I would say that's like an average attack against you. So that's like negating one action, we'll say.
Yeah.
Which is significant.
More hit points is more better. One feat that really stood out to me, and it's a little more creative, it's not one that I think I really see taken very often, but in a low magic setting, it is absolutely a must have, and that is Heavy Armor Master. This is incredible. If you're taking non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, you just subtract 3 from the total. You want to talk about closing the gap between the fighter's tankiness and the barbarian's tankiness? This will do it. This absolutely will do it. And if you are playing in a game with low magic, this is incredible, because you could get hit 17 times in one round, and if they're all for 3 points or less, like you're fighting a bunch of twig blights or something like that, none of them count.
That's actually insane, especially at low level. Like, you know, if you know you're doing a one shot that's like level 1 to 5, take Heavy Armor Master. You know,
Exactly.
That's going to be all or most of the damage that you're being hit with on average. Moving on to the next one on our list. Number 3 is about mobility. It's the mobile feat. I know what you're thinking. Mobile? You hate that feat. And, well, you're dead wrong. Mobile is one of the best feats in the game. And if you like moving on your feet and you want to be fast on your feet, take the mobile feat. It opens up so many options for your fighter to be able to really just focus on multiple things and move across the battlefield. Like, if you're trying to get to the big bad and you don't want to have to take opportunity attacks to get there, well, hit a couple of the people that you have to get through to get there. You know, if you have to go through someone's reach, just hit him, waste an attack on him. If you're using a polearm or whatever, use your bonus action attack on it. Whatever you want to do, essentially you can get to the place you want to be, or the big bad or whatever, without taking opportunity attacks. And that's awesome. Lets you move from like a pawn or a rook or whatever to a knight, like in addition to what you can do. You're like, okay, I could do this, but now I could also jump and not only in an L shape.
I got a little abstract, but I really love where you're going with it. But we mentioned this in our movement video, which you absolutely should check out. And if you're the fighter's on the front lines, unless you're a ranged fighter, but typically you're the knight in shining armor on the front lines. And like you said, you got to get to the boss. Even just that extra 10 feet of movement is huge. You have to make sure you are in the correct tactical position to either cut off enemy lines, protect the squishier wizard that might be counting on you while they're concentrating on a spell. That's really important. Like, there's so many things that just being in position to succeed is going to set the entire party up for success. I love that pick.
Sometimes your best ability is your availability.
Boom. Love it.
That's a Jake ism.
Speaking of Jake isms, you know I love magic. That's all I love to do. I always have to play a caster, so I have to include the Magic Initiate feat here. And there are a ton of standout spells, but one thing I really like is the option of having another concentration spell that's not typically dependent on. So like we have Melly, who's a Divine Soul Sorcerer in our Ancient Relics and Hokey Religions, and she loves doing Bless, but what if Vale could do that, or Mac could do that? That all of a sudden would free up her concentration slots. So a spell like Bless would be a great pick here. You want to deal more damage, something like Hex. And then even just, you know what? You need that defensive moment of protection. You can take Shield. There's a ton of great options. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts there, what you would pick if you were taking this as a fighter. I mean, even Protection from Evil and Good's a good choice, Josh.
Yeah, there's a lot of good options there. Speaking of a lot of good options, the final choice that we have here for number 5 on our list, we have it down here as just enhanced damage type. So what that really means is whether it's the Piercer, Slasher, or Crusher feat, any one of those, or any combination of those, really, because you could be one of those fighters from like first edition D&D where you have a golf bag that has like all your specific weapons for your specific
your squires,
scenarios.
like your caddy.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm here for it. Like that's cool. But it's essentially just, it's not the most exciting. I don't even want to say it's not the most exciting thing, because it's not like it's just like a static bonus. It's like there's different things that these feats do that add to your toolkit for what you could do in combat. It's just, if you're constantly going to be doing piercing, slashing, or crushing, or bludgeoning damage, why not have a feat that lets you enhance said damage?
Oh my gosh, yeah. You know how many times I've re-rolled damage using Veil with the bow? I've loved the Piercer feat. That's great. And Echo with the Crusher feat, how many times if he gets a crit, it's like, oh, now people have advantage to hit this thing. Here you go, Rogue. Automatic sneak attack.
Yeah, and it's a whole lot less often, but I mean, if you score a crit on Slasher, disadvantage for that target's next turn. Like, imagine you're there, you're face to face, vis-a-vis with the big bad, and you score a crit. It's like, whoa, that's super exciting, whatever. But now it has disadvantage on attack rolls. Like, you're just pissed in the DM's cornflakes, and that's what we're all trying to do here, isn't it?
And you're reducing their speed, which is the opposite of mobile.
Yeah.
And like you said, who doesn't like pissing in the DM's corner?
Look,
that's so gross.
It's a game, right? The way to win, you're not winning the encounter unless you've beaten the DM.
That is how it goes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We want to know your thoughts on what feats we may have missed and why you would pick Savage Attacker as the best feat for a fighter. You do get a lot of feats as a fighter, so you know that needs to be on the list. And so there's also going to be some cool suggestions and stuff that you should like watch, like maybe the Rogue video or like whatever other weird thing we put on here. You should just click on it. It's good. And, you know, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. You could give us a high five emoji in the comments. I did that and you can't see. It's like, woo. Hey, Josh, let's try. Ready? High five. Boop. Yay.